from the Japanese water gardens. Welcome to my step-by-step guide to installing an Oase gravity-fed drum filter. An automatic filter that flushes itself clean and requires only a moderate amount of maintenance. If installed correctly, a drum is arguably the most efficient and easy to maintain koi pond filter. In this series of videos, I will explain how to connect your drum to an aerated bottom drain, fit a simple water auto top-up with built-in overflow, and pipe in your pump, UV and skimmer. Even if you're not opting for a drum system, there is a huge amount of extra information you will want to know before you construct your pond. So get sat down with a coffee and let me show you how I would go about installing one of these amazing filters. Hi there, welcome to part 2 of my step-by-step guide to installing a gravity-fed drum filter. Make sure that you watch these videos in order, or they're not going to make a lot of sense. In this video, I'm going to give you a closer look at the Oase Profi-Clear Compact M, then move on to installing it onto our pond. In the previous video, I introduced you to drum filters, installed a bottom drain, then built up the pond walls and installed a skimmer. When you get to this stage of the build, I strongly recommend that you purchase your filter and have it delivered, so that you can start to familiarize yourself properly with it. Looking at pictures online or seeing something in a brochure is simply not the same. If you start building the base or creating a filter enclosure before you've got the filter, it's likely that something's not going to fit, the pipework won't line up, or something is going to be in the wrong place. So here is my model of the Oase drum filter. It's been delivered and unpacked, ready for us to take a look at. The filter will arrive pre-assembled, ready to be installed. The first thing that surprises most people about it is the weight of it. It is substantial. It weighs 70 kilograms. It's about the size of a domestic washing machine. You can move them around with a heavy-duty sack trolley, but really it's going to be a two-person job moving it about. Don't be a hero, get somebody in to help. Accompanying the filter, there is this telephone directory sized user manual. Don't let this intimidate you. It's not as nearly as deep and heavy as it looks. It's actually repeated in 12 languages, has sections for the pump-fed version of this filter in there too. You will find installation diagrams, operating instructions, maintenance recommendations, a troubleshooting reference with error code descriptions. It has spare part diagrams, a controller programming guide. The filter is actually very easy to set up, but the manual does have some specific technical information that we're not going to cover in these videos. All sorts of details that you should take a look at. My video is intended only as an add-on to the manual. Please do spend some time and read it. What the manual does not do particularly well, in my opinion, is display the system in a real-world situation. And that was my main motivation for creating these videos. The front of the filter has 3 110mm ports. The bottom 2 ports are water entry ports. One of them is likely to have a rubber blanking cap installed. You can connect your pond to either or both of these ports. If you take a peek in here, you can see straight through into the drum. The third port at the top is the discharge port. When the drum completes the cleaning cycle, approximately 1 litre of soiled water will be discharged from here. On the side of the filter, there is a service drain. It is used to empty the filter chamber during general maintenance. To open this valve, you need to rotate the handle and lift it upwards. The valve size is listed in the manual as 70mm. Oase's own 70mm pipe fittings can be used on this valve. They actually go over the top of the valve, but I recommend using rubber boot fittings here instead. The side of the filter has mounting bolts for the control panel. You also have the option of mounting this panel on the opposite side of the filter, should this better suit your requirements. The control panel is connected to the filter by special proprietary couplings. They are very easy to connect and cannot be fitted incorrectly. They will only fit the right way. The panel is extremely easy to operate, and its use is explained clearly in the instruction manual. It is very important to note that the control panel should never be connected to a power supply unless you have water in your drum. The washer pump would be run dry, and then it could sustain damage. Do not plug in the control panel until the filter is installed on the pond and is ready for operation. On the back of the filter, we have the water exit port. This is the 110mm size connector again. Oase also manufacture additional chambers that you can daisy chain onto this port. But in our build, we will be connecting our return pump to this port. The filter is equipped with a lid. When you handle this lid, you will really appreciate the superb build quality of the Oase filter. It has been built to last, and this is one of my main reasons for recommending it. It is extremely easy to remove, but sometimes it confuses people. To remove it, you lift up one side and then slide the lid off to the other side. It can then easily be lifted off. The underside of the lid has been lined with a sponge material. I believe that this has been done to soundproof the filter. You will also notice a stainless steel bracket that holds the lid in place, and a large magnet that is a safety device. It prevents the drum from operating without the lid being installed. Take a look inside the filter and you will be able to see the various components that operate the system. Now don't worry if you notice a little water in the bottom. You haven't been sent a used filter. Oase actually fill up and test every unit before they leave the factory. This is the motor that rotates the drum. Spray heads for washing the drum clean. The drums can be easily removed by turning the blue clip and detaching the panel. Over many years of service, these screens may need replacement, and they are freely available. With the screen removed, you can see the discharge chute for the soiled water. Beneath the drum, out of sight, there is a high pressure pump that operates the jets. Clearly visible at the side of the system, there are two sensors that monitor the water level. One of them will detect a drop in water level and that sends a signal to the control panel and it engages a cleaning cycle, and the other one is there to monitor your pumping rate if you have this feature enabled on the panel. The manual will explain a lot more about these sensors. You may never need to touch them, but if you do, read the manual. It will explain how to calibrate them. On the side of the drum, you will also see this water level plate. It shows you where the water level will need to be in the system when you have it connected to your pond. More on that soon. At the bottom of the filter, there are two air stones that are clipped down. Once connected to a compressor, they churn the water over and move the media around inside the chamber. Of course, Oase does supply media for this system. The connection for the air compressor is on the side of the tank. Oase don't supply the air compressor. I will make some suggestions for that later. This system is the gravity-fed version of the Compact M filter, and we are going to connect it to our bottom drain that we installed in the previous video. The term gravity-fed does sometimes cause confusion, so let me explain how it works. It's actually super simple, and it's absolutely the best way to connect your filter to a koi pond. Imagine that you have a tank of water standing at the side of your pond. The tank is connected to the pond by a large diameter pipe. You could fill up the pond with water, and it will eventually fill the tank up with water. When there is sufficient water in the system, you can pump water from the tank into the pond. This will slightly raise the level of water in the pond and lower the level in the tank. Water will flow from the pond into the tank. Now this is basically what we're trying to replicate on our pond system. The filter system will stand at the side of the pond and connect to the bottom drain pipework. The pump will draw water from the filter and return it back to the pond, thus establishing a water flow, and the levels will all balance. When our pond is full of water, the filter will also be full of water. Of course, we need to be sure that the filter is elevated to the correct level, otherwise things will not work as planned. If the filter is too low, we will not be able to fill our pond up without the filter overflowing. If the filter is too high, the water inside will not be at the right level for the sensors to work properly. So we're going to construct a concrete base to stand the filter on, and the height of this base will be calculated by referring to the water level plate inside the drum and the line that we marked up on our pond. When our pond is full of water, it should be halfway between the maximum and minimum levels on the plaque. Make sure that you make the base good and sturdy, ideally from poured concrete several inches thick. Patio slabs are not recommended. Timber decking is also not recommended. When this filter is full of water, it will weigh about 1/3 of a ton. It's heavy and the base must be done right. Don't make this base too small. Make sure that there's plenty of space available for your filter, your pump, your UV and everything else. Once the base has had time to set properly, we can position the filter on it and start planning our pipework. The bottom drain has to be connected to the inlet of the filter. For connections to the drum, I recommend using 110mm rubber fittings. They slide over the top of the fitting and they are held firmly in place with Jubilee clips. If you prefer, you can use Solvent Weld fittings, but personally I would avoid them. The Solvent fittings are definitely the way to go with anything that's buried in the ground, but for this job, the rubber fittings are just perfect. Rubber fittings are super easy to use. Because they are flexible, your pipework does not have to be perfectly aligned. They can accommodate small differences in angles or distance. They are releasable. Should you ever want to adjust something or service the filter, just slacken off the clips and you can pull them off. If you ever need to, you can replace them. It's not hard to do. Just don't use them in the ground. So all I have done first is to fit a 90-degree elbow to the inlet, and I turned it off to the side in the direction of the bottom drain. This will help to determine the height of the pipe coming off the bottom drain. The 110mm pipe should be cut off at the correct height, and the T needs installing. With a 90-degree elbow and two 110mm valves. The valve on the left is our drain purging valve. It should be as low down as practical, thus ensuring an efficient action. The valve on the right is required when isolating the drum from the pond. Should you use ball valves or slide valves? Quality ball valves are definitely superior to slide valves. They are built to a very high standard and seldom, if ever, develop leaks, but they are considerably more expensive than slide valves. Slide valves are more compact, more affordable, but they are prone to developing slow leaks. This is often the result of the valve seals getting damaged by grit or stones. You could of course replace the valves should you ever need to, especially if you've used rubber fittings. So the choice is yours. In the next video we will progress with the pipework and install a super simple auto top up with a built-in overflow. The next video will be released in 1 week's time. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you like what you see, subscribe to the channel and post any comments below. It's bye for now from Lee at the Japanese Water Gardens.